came out the Saturday beforehand that they weren't using any storylines for this pay-per-view. This was not an advancement pay-per-view. It was basically bragging rights in a Survivor Series thing, and that's not what I look for in a Big Four pay-per-view.
That's the one thing that hurt this pay-per-view the most, because, like I said, wrestling-wise, it really was a good show. Yeah, it was good. It was a good show.
It was very entertaining. It was,
and to a certain extent, it did advance storylines. Just only like one or two storylines.
One.
Yeah, you actually really think of it. Yeah, just one.
Yeah, and that turns out to be, oh God, if that's the main event of TLC, the TLC match with Baron Corbin and Braun Strowman,
that match is out.
Out. They legit.
Yep.
Okay.
Because of his legit injury and his surgery on his.
Okay, because I know.
Yeah, he's out.
I know that they said that it was
there was a chance, but the chance didn't work with them this time. He's out. So the TLC match between Baron Corbin and Braun Strowman is out.
So my possible TLC match is still on board.
Yeah,
I could possibly get my Ambrose versus Rollins in a TLC match. It's the match it's the match that deserves it.
Oh, I agree.
The main match of the pay-per-view, that it especially after what happened on Monday, how they went there on Monday, they went there with it. It's like, that is a blood feud. That should be the main match of your show.
With what happened, yeah, I think it's going to be. But
yeah,
we'll talk about that more later. But let's talk about the kickoff match, though. Even though WWE is trying to say that doesn't count, it does. You want us to give a shit about these pre-show kickoff matches? Then yes, it counts.
Especially when it was as good as this one was.
Yes, it was a very good match. The beginning, just all the lesser teams got dropped, which I will give you credit for. That's what you said in the prediction show. I was kind of disappointed with that, considering these teams are actually good teams and deserve a lot more.
The Colognes literally lasted about 30 seconds.
About even, yeah. But of course, it was all about the final four teams, which was Revival and Bobby Roode and Chad Gable on Raw.
The New Day and
Usos and New Day for SmackDown.
And once it got down to those two, this match kicked up.
It was very good. Good spots. The Chad Gable German suplexing Kofi Kingston outside on the top turnbuckle onto the rest of the guys. Whew.
And at that moment,
I've never seen anything like that.
At that moment, I turned around and was looking at my empty apartment and was like, "This is the pre-show. What could possibly happen on the actual show that could eclipse this?" Turns out, nothing.
It's just really funny because, of course, now we find out that there was a miscommunication backstage, and since Vince McMahon did want Raw to have just a clean sweep of the entire show, of the miscommunication that SmackDown wasn't supposed to win.
So the Revival was supposed to take it.
Revival was supposed to take it, and that's the reason why for the rest of the show they completely canceled out. It's like, yeah, the kickoff match, that's why it didn't count.
So it was a punishment, really.
To an extent, yeah.
Yeah. So,
but
SmackDown
but the point happened.
SmackDown did a Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and went into business for themselves.
I don't think it was a business for themselves.
I figured.
It wasn't a business for themselves like Owens and Zayn. It was just, like I said, miscommunication backstage.
I figured that was just me joking. I wasn't actually saying that it was.
But when it came to, we got the predictions. And of course, I picked the New Day to be the survivors. You picked Usos and New Day, and same with Jeff, Usos and New Day. So nobody got the prediction points for that one.
Yep.
Since New Day canceled out your Usos, with the same with Jeff, and I was flat out wrong.
Yep. But we all got the point for the win.
we all got, Even though WWE messed up on their end, it worked for us.
Yes, it worked out well.
It worked out well for us. And now moving on to the main card, we opened with the women's Survivor Series match, and of course,
the face breaker.
She got
destroyed.
She got destroyed by the crowd. My God! And
but the difference is, okay, when Ronda later in the night got destroyed by the crowd, she wasn't having it. When Nia was getting destroyed by the crowd, she was taking it like a champ, and she was begging for more.
WWE was definitely using this to advance Nia Jax's story to make her a legit threat for Ronda Rousey at TLC.
Yeah, and we all know that the punishment is coming.
Mm-hmm.
Ronda Rousey's going to destroy her at TLC. But
I'm reaching that point where it's not going to be destroyed, but it's definitely going to be it's going to be a timed match, a good timed match. But if there was any chance for Nia Jax to actually defeat Ronda Rousey at TLC,
it's not there.
It's out the window now.
But everything, I was surprised when they had Naomi go out first.
It was actually, let's start with the first prediction. The one that Jeff completely, I actually watched the show over. He did say yes to the to be announced who we were predicting.
Yes,
when you first asked it, he's like, yeah.
Mandy. Yeah.
I don't know if he misinterpreted the question, but he definitely did say yes on the to be announced.
Yep.
And
nobody got it anyway.
I did.
You said Mandy Rose?
I said Mandy Rose. I even, at Jeff's house, I even had to pull up the episode to confirm it with him.
Got it.
He actually thought I picked Paige.
So that's where one of those points came from.
Yep.
You're welcome.
Hey, to be fair, that even if Jeff took that point off, it wouldn't have mattered.
I know. I'm just saying, you're welcome for the breathing room.
But yeah, he actually thought I picked Paige, and he was so sure of it. But
you had mentioned.
I did mention
Paige.
that there was the rumor that Paige herself killed of her potentially returning to the ring. I said, as much as I would love to have seen that, I don't think they're going to do that, and I'm picking Mandy Rose because she was the only one that actually made sense. So, point for me. And
I wasn't really a fan of how they took Natalya and
Ruby Riott
out of the match. I'm like, if you're not gonna have them in the match to begin with, why did you go through all that shit on Raw?
To be perfectly honest, I did like it because they kind of screwed it up. They screwed it up on Raw, but I'll get back to after what I talked about before. They actually are building depth to this feud, and it actually affected the Survivor Series storyline, which I like that they're bringing in storylines that are affecting the show as a whole. But and now we brought in Sasha Banks and Bayley, which made the match better.
Made for a better match.
Made for a better match, exactly. But then they ruined it. They ruined that storyline altogether by just giving us Natalya versus Ruby Riott the next night on Raw.
Exactly.
And it was just basically, a 2-minute match?
Yeah. So it's like
that Natalya won. So now
so it's like the last month.
So why instead of having Ruby Riott and Natalya at TLC and having this whole build up of Natalya basically going through the other members of the Riott Squad,
it's already done.
So now why the hell are we invested? Why were we invested to begin with?
Well,
and that's kind of the big problem I had on the outcome of this pay-per-view. But I'll talk more about that with other matches. But when it comes to this one, it actually did work out. And yes, Nia Jax was the heat magnet in this one.
Oh yeah.
No, the rest of the crowd, the rest of the women didn't really get much of a reaction from the crowd.
Because they were too busy.
Because they're all upset at Nia. And there was one fan, I don't know if it was at this show or the next night on Raw, that one fan had a sign up that just says, "Nia, I'm sorry to tell you this, but we're not booing you because of your character. We're booing you because you are flat out awful."
That's a guy who has some balls.
I was like, you know what, sir? I like you. Yes. Because that was my initial response to it as well. Because I was like, they're not booing it because I'm glad they're actually using this to their advantage to actually get character heat for Nia. But most of this crowd, mainly like it's
get off my TV heat.
It's reached that point where you have been messing up, legit hurting people for so long,
and it's finally gotten to the point you took out the face of the company as of right now. You took her out. That was the main event of this pay-per-view, and you ruined it because you got mad and threw a punch.
And threw a stiff shot.
And legit broke her face. So...
And now back to this, I'm glad that they're actually using it to their advantage, especially when, at the end of the match, she shoves Sasha Banks off the turnbuckle, and that cost her the elimination, just so she can be the sole survivor and continue getting that heat. Because I even said it on Twitter. I posted to Brian Alvarez. I saw what he was saying, that WWE's big passion right now is just to keep getting heat. But after what I saw on Raw, I had to be like, yep, I saw where you were coming from at first, and I kind of thought you were kind of overtaking it with the heat. But then I watched the promo. Raw. But then I watched Raw. Not even just the promo, just Raw in general. It was a heat magnet of a show.
Yep.
There were, other than like 4 or 5 face wins that didn't matter. The show was just heat.
Well, the reason I think that they're doing that is because they know they've got a bunch of cool heels right now that aren't getting...
Are they really cool heels?
But they're not getting heat. So they have to go above and beyond to get the heat that they need to get. Therefore, Dean Ambrose bringing up Roman Reigns. Nia Jax being proud of the fact that she broke Becky Lynch's face for real. It's like that's.
I think the only one that actually really gets cool heat is Drew McIntyre. But now they're using him and Bobby Lashley. Hopefully, they only did it for this episode. Hopefully, they stick it with just this one episode because they were the surviving members of the Survivor Series team.
It seems
they're the lackeys.
It seems like they're the lackeys for Baron Corbin. Like it could have been AOP, but
we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But yeah, it's just heat, and that's what they're continuing with Nia Jax, with her being the sole survivor, and nothing more else to say. So,
but really, for that particular match, it was the only real way that you could possibly go.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that,
especially since Nia Jax is going against Ronda Rousey in TLC.
It's like you
have to make her look strong.
It's like you can hate the fact that the last week has been basically heat. But for certain things,
it's understandable.
Certain things, you need that. So with this, yes. If this needed to happen, this was really the only way it could possibly go down.
The only real problem I have with the heat discussion is that they're doing it at the cost of their faces.
Yes.
Especially their top faces. It's understandable for Braun now, the fact that they use this to write him off to get his surgery on his elbow. But Finn Balor, he got pinned. He basically is now. The Ollie and Luke Owen at Wrestle Talk are now just calling Finn Balor Pin Balor, because that's all he's good for now. He's pretty much in that Dolph Ziggler, where he's just the guy to take the pins. Elias, he got counted out, so he got taken out. He was made to look like an idiot. The only real face that looked strong in that show was Ronda Rousey. And then you look at Seth Rollins, where even though he tricked Dean Ambrose into making him think he's leaving, instead he comes in to attack him. He gets the low blow, and then he gets beat down. That left the Raw crowd angry to get heat. So, yes, you want to get heat, but you got to make your faces look strong into this.
If you think that made Seth Rollins look strong, I don't know what to tell you.